You know those mornings when everything feels perfect and then one person decides to blow it all up? That was us last summer. Bright sun beating down on our quiet suburban street. The sharp smell of fresh-cut lumber hanging in the air. Hammers already tapping away. My dad Tom had the crew out marking the foundation for the guest house we had planned for years. It was supposed to be simple. Just a cozy spot so Grandma could move in close and we could take care of her properly. Mom Linda was smiling for the first time in months. Coffee in hand, watching the dream finally start. I was home from college to help. Jean right there with my sleeves rolled up and tools ready. Then Karen showed up. She stormed across the lawn like she owned the whole block. Clipboard swinging, that permanent scowl locked on her face. "Stop right now," she yelled. Her voice cutting through the morning like a siren. "This build is illegal. Height violation. Setback violation. You name it. Tear it down or I'll slap liens on your house so fast your heads will spin." My heart slammed against my ribs. Dad froze mid-step. Blueprints fluttering in his grip. Mom let out this long, shaky sigh. Her shoulders dropping like someone had punched her. I stepped forward. Blood boiling. "We have city permits?" "Karen. Every single one. You can't just..." She slapped the bright red stop work order on our fence anyway. "Watch me," she snapped. Then turned on her heel and marched off. The crew stood there awkward. Tools silent. The only sound left was the wind rustling the plastic tarps and my own pulse thundering in my ears. What the heck just happened? The next days blurred into pure frustration. Construction halted cold. Fines started rolling in daily. Dad paced the living room at night, muttering, "Is this worth losing the house over? Jean?" His voice cracked on my name. Mom would just sit at the kitchen table, staring at nothing, the smell of burnt coffee mixing with the tension thick enough to choke on. I kept telling them we would fight, but inside I wondered the same thing. Could one entitled neighbor really kill our dream? I refused to let her win. Late nights, laptop glow lighting my face. I dug through every public HOA record I could find. That's when the first twist hit. Karen's own backyard had a massive unpermitted deck and pool that made our little guest house look tiny. The hypocrisy burned. But that was just the start. A neighbor who worked City Hall slipped me some old emails. Turns out Karen was not just picky. She was crooked. She had been skimming HOA dues for years, calling it community improvements, while the money went straight to her own yard upgrades. She had a quiet deal with a developer buddy who wanted our lot and a few others for a big luxury flip. Blocking us was her way of squeezing us out cheap. My hands shook when I read that. This was never about rules. This was personal. I waited for the next HOA meeting. The community hall was packed. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. The air heavy with old coffee and nervous sweat. I stood up, voice steady even though my knees felt weak. "Karen, how do you sleep at night enforcing rules you break every day?" I held up the printed emails and violation photos. The room went dead silent for half a second, then erupted. Neighbors who had been scared of her for years finally spoke. One guy yelled about his mailbox fine while her fence sat illegal for years. Another woman stood up, voice trembling. "You threatened to fine my kid's treehouse but threw parties that broke every noise rule." Karen's face went from red to white. She sputtered, "This is slander. I'll sue every one of you."
Too late.
Someone in the back had been recording the whole thing. By sunrise the video was everywhere. HOA Karen exposed. It hit 1 million views overnight. Local news vans parked on our street. Reporters knocked on doors asking for comments while the sun beat down and cameras flashed. The backlash hit her like a freight train. Auditors tore into the HOA books. The board voted her out the same week. We sued for harassment and the illegal stop order. Court day arrived and the room smelled of polished wood and nervous energy. Our lawyer laid out every email, every double standard, every dollar she skimmed. Karen sat there small, fidgeting, her power gone. The judge ruled fast and hard. She had to pay our legal fees, drop every claim, and cover the delay damages. The community rewrote the HOA rules that same month so no one could pull what she did again. But karma was not finished. The scandal followed her home. Her husband packed his bags and filed for divorce. Done with the embarrassment, the fines and lawsuits drained her savings. She had to sell her house at a huge loss just to stay afloat. Last I heard, she moved into a tiny apartment across town. No more clipboard, no more power, just her and the bitter taste of everything she lost. We broke ground again the very next week. Hammers rang out, sawdust floated in the bright air, and laughter came back to our yard. Grandma moved in last month. She bakes cookies every Sunday now. The sweet vanilla smell drifting across the lawn. And every time I walk past that finished guest house, I feel it in my chest. We stood up. We fought smart.
We won.
If you are dealing with your own Karen right now, hear me. Gather the facts. Rally your neighbors. Shine the light on the truth. It might feel impossible in those dark nights when the fines pile up and doubt creeps in. But the right people will stand with you. Bullies only win when good folks stay quiet.
We proved that.
Our family is stronger. Our home is complete. And that entitled neighbor learned the hard way that karma does not miss. Sometimes the little guy does not just survive.
He wins.
And that victory tastes sweeter than anything.